Good morning on this Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. We're going to finish the book of Esther today. Tomorrow, Sunday morning, we'll have worship live on Facebook at 9 o'clock from Mabel and Sutton as normal, and also in person there and in person at our Savior's in McHenry. If you're in the area, you're welcome to join us for either of those worship services, and especially the one on Facebook. Appreciate all of you that tune in on those, not only on the weekdays, but also on the Sunday morning. So thanks for all of those tuning in times. Today, I don't know, these last two chapters of Esther, well, chapter 9 especially, again, gives me heartache. This man Haman had plotted against the Jews because Mordecai wouldn't bow down and worship him, and we heard about the ending of Haman, his life ending, and the elevation then of Mordecai, the Jew, to this second in command, basically, and the edict that Mordecai wrote, on behalf of the king to refute the edict of killing all of the Jews, and instead of just refuting the killing of all of the Jews and saying, let everybody live, the edict is then that the Jews can kill and plunder. And I mean, come on, where's grace and where's forgiveness? I mean, I would just assume that this, especially chapter 9, wasn't in here, but it is. And, it seems like they forget that, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And, to turn the other cheek. I mean, I guess that's more, in Jesus' day, to turn the other cheek. But where's the grace? Where's the forgiveness, that the Israelites, the Jews would have? It's not there. And because on the 12th month, on the 13th day, at the king's command, as Mordecai had written, the Jews in all of these 125 provinces, I think 125, 127, whichever, they go and they kill. And it's just, the numbers are just ridiculous. And one of the things, they kill all of Haman's sons. I mean, what did they do? I mean, I just have heartache with so much of this unnecessary killing. And I understand that, the Jews have been persecuted, but, it still doesn't make it right in my eyes at all. The proclamation had been that the Jews could kill and plunder, kill their enemies and plunder. Well, they took the first part, they did a lot of killing, but they didn't plunder. And on this 13th day of this 12th month, but the Jews in the town of Susa gathered not only on the 13th, but also on the 14th. So they did 2 days of the killing, and but again, they didn't plunder. And then to top everything off, they make an annual festival, a 2-day festival called Purim, Purim, of this killing. Why celebrate that? No. I just don't understand. And there are other holidays too that I don't understand, but that's beside the point, I guess. But and so it says in verse 20, Mordecai recorded all of these things and sent letters to all the Jews, enjoining them that they should keep the 14th day of the month of Adar and also the 15th day as days on which the Jews gained relief from their enemies. I other than Haman, being upset with all of the Jews because of Mordecai, we aren't told of other things that are happening to the Jews. We aren't told of other reasons that the Jews are being persecuted or put down. It's just, I can't understand the reason for this celebration of freedom from their enemies. And again, there's probably more to this backstory than we're aware of, but still, I wish that we had grace. I wish that we saw some grace and mercy and forgiveness. But we don't see that. We see this revenge. We see, I guess it's a battle, and life is a battle. I understand that, and things don't go our way all the time. But in today's world, that doesn't give us the right. Never in the world, I would say, it doesn't give us, I believe, the right to go out and to kill those that are opposed to us, to kill those with other ideas and stuff that way. And I know that throughout a lot of what we've been reading in the Old Testament, as God promised this land to the Israelites, there were an awful lot of other peoples, of nations, that were utterly destroyed by the Israelites, because God was looking out for his people. And maybe in a way this is a continuation of that, although, there isn't any mention of God in this book. It's of the Hebrews, it's of the Jews, it's of Mordecai being faithful to his God and worshiping only God, not bowing down to worship Haman. This is where it all started, was that, Mordecai was faithful to God. And so as we go through the story, Mordecai being faithful to God, watching out for Queen Esther, watching out for the king, informing the king of the plot against him. We see all of these things come into play for Mordecai to become second in command, to have authority, to be respected in all of these, in so many different ways. And so, we just see that, to me, a horrible result, that, rather than the Jews being killed, which that would have been a horrible thing as well, but the Jews extracting so much vengeance. And verse 30 gives me a little bit of calm. Letters were sent wishing peace and security to all the Jews. All the 127 provinces, peace and security, that Purim should be observed, and so no more killing, peace. It's like, we had this time of revenge. We had this time of, kind of free for all, but now it's a time of peace, and we need to hang on to that. And chapter 10 is just a little short chapter. King Ahasuerus, some places say King Xerxes or King Artaxerxes. Just Ahasuerus was King Xerxes, King Artaxerxes the first. But he laid tribute on the land, and all the acts of his power and might are recorded, and he'd given high honor to Mordecai, and that. But it ends with the king Artaxerxes was powerful among the Jews and popular with his many kindred, for he sought the good of his people and interceded for the welfare of all of his descendants. And so in many ways we're seeing this ending of the king, treating people right, and hopefully then Mordecai being under him is an instrument, a tool of this, treating the people right and everything. And but it's still, the book of Esther has so much going on in it, and again it's a part of the sinful natures of the world. It's like people today saying, well, why did God let this happen to me? And we forget that that God put the world into motion. And the world and all of the sin and everything that's going on in the world is, you and me, we can control what we do. We can't control what others do, but, the world is put into motion, and God isn't up there causing accidents to happen to anybody. He isn't causing good things to happen to somebody just because of who they are or any of that stuff. But the world is set into motion, and God hopes, God's plan for us is that we would have good, but that we, having good, would then again share that good with others and spread that goodness and that grace and that mercy. Yeah, and it's one of the lessons that's hard to learn and hard to come by in so many different ways. On Monday, we'll begin the book of Job. And we have tomorrow's first lesson, first reading is from Job chapter 38, verses 1 through 11. And the story of Job is another one of those that gives me quite a bit of heartache in so many different ways. But the blessing of God is there, especially evident in and through the life of Job, just as the blessings of God is available and evident in the world today.